people get involved in your campaign. They say, you know what, I love this woman. I love what she's doing. She's fighting for us. This is John Villarreal reporting for Conservative New Media.
Conservative New Media peeps, what's up? Well, it came down. The Times Square bomber has just been convicted of life in prison. You're going to remember this guy. He's the guy that had a little truck, the SUV type of situation. He drove down there at Times Square. The thing was smoking. Some good bystanders, whatever, caught it, disarmed it. The thing had a bomb there. He wanted to blow up at least 40 people, he says. And this is, now, you're going to remember this guy here. This is the Pakistani immigrant. He's pled guilty. He said that he'd plead guilty, 100 times over. And this, I'm telling you right now, Shahzad. Now, he said, now this is the thing right here. He has a lot of quotes that are explosive, and I want to know what the Obama administration says to this and what some other people say to this. And maybe this means nothing, maybe this has a larger meaning. I'm asking you. The first quote you need to think about is he says, quote, "Brace yourselves because the war with Muslims has just begun." Now, is this just a crazy man talking? Do you think there's anything else to that? And especially with the whole larger picture with the Ground Zero Mosque and Cristiano Amanpour had actually a really cool town hall about all this, and a lot of people were discussing this. It's just like, some people said, hey, the moderate Muslims haven't spoken out. Hey, the crazies are in charge of some of the very extremists, like in Iran and other places, are in charge in some of these countries. Hezbollah, Hamas, all that type of stuff. How is this? And other people, on the Muslim side, say, hey, you can't paint all Muslims like this, and I don't think anyone's trying to do that. We're certainly not trying to do that. But when someone made an interesting point in the town hall, and I think it was Reverend Graham or someone like that, it was like, look, these, I think it was Reverend Graham, he's like, these 15 people who did 9/11 did so in the name of Islam. And we haven't had any denunciation by the leaders of Islam about that. That was an interesting point. Like, obviously, if there was a big, terrorist attack, and I'm quite confident, and done so in the name of Christianity or Catholicism, I'm quite confident that the Pope will come out and denounce that immediately. And here we have this guy who's saying that he's doing it in the name of Islam. So that's sort of interesting. And then Fort Hood and a bunch of other stuff like that. I mean, what do you make of that? Now, he also goes on to say that they asked him, hey, you did a sworn oath to the United States when you became a citizen last year. It's like, I did swear it, but I did not mean it. And then the judge asked him, so you took a false oath. And he said, the guy who called himself a Muslim soldier says, quote, "I want to plead guilty, and I'm going to plead guilty 100 times forward." He says, unless the U.S. leaves Muslim lands alone, quote, "we will be attacking the U.S., and I plead guilty to that." I mean, this is pretty crazy. I'll give the guy props on this. At least he's being straight up, or at least it seems like he's being straight up and telling us what's really going on here. Again, what do you make of this? Do you think Faisal Shahzad? And then there's another quote that is, I believe, in the Huffington Post. Paul said to me, quote, "It's a war, and I'm part of the answer to the U.S. terrorizing Muslim nations and the Muslim people." So, there's a lot of other quotes here that the guy goes on to say. It's really intense. And my point is, what do you guys think about that? And then he supposedly, quote, "spoke with pride about the scheme in which he bragged that he wanted to kill at least 40 people." I mean, it's really, wow. This is intense. This is intense. And, we've heard some of the left-wing media try to explain, well, he lost his home and he was a... Dude, give me a break. We've had homeless people here in America for I don't know how long. They don't go try to blow up a bunch of people in Times Square. So the question is, there's a bunch of questions. A, do you agree with the sentence? B, do you make anything of his more radical statements? And we'll post to the articles down in the description by the view counter there with one of the arrows. And, or do you just think this is the ramblings of a madman? Or does it fit into a larger picture here? And what role, if any, does religion play into this, at least in the minds of the extremists? Of course, we're not saying that we're at war with Islam here or anything like that, or painting all Muslims like that. There are tons of great Muslims, Americans. I'm friends with a lot of them, all that type of stuff. On the other hand, a bunch of these terrorists are doing it in the name of Islam. A bunch of extremists are in charge of Iran, Syria, etc., etc. And they are helping to fund and train these terrorists. What connection, if any, is there? I want to know what you think about that. And what's the fair way to deal with that? And how do we create a dialogue? And what steps can we take to try to mend the fence here and protect ourselves with Homeland Security? I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think about this. Hit me with the comments below. Subscribe above. I am John, and you're watching Conservative New Media.